Hey folks, Gwe. So I read an article this morning on cbc.ca. I'll pin it in the comments. I thought it was a brilliant article. It's one of the best things I think that I've read in a very long time, but it left me just ridiculously conflicted and challenged. The article was about how the Taliban in Afghanistan are now asking for international aid to help them build their country, to help them build hospitals and schools, universities, to help them build orphanages, to help them build the infrastructure that they need to be a prosperous and functioning, a well-functioning nation. My first instinct was, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I have friends. I have Canadian friends and American friends and British friends that fought in Afghanistan, that were part of the coalition that was there. I have friends that tried to build hospitals and schools and orphanages and infrastructure that the Taliban would routinely destroy as part of their war against my friends. So my first instinct is to say, absolutely not. And then I hear the words of the Master. Now, please understand, this video is not about whether or not Canada or the United States or anybody else should provide foreign aid to Afghanistan. That's well outside of my bailiwick. I'm only trying to describe and to learn from and hopefully offer a lesson that this article inspires in me. Because even though my first instinct is opposition to this. This is not a good idea. This is not something we should do. We should not do this at all because they were our enemy. It's impossible for me to tune out what Jesus says. In the Gospel of Matthew, the 5th chapter, beginning at the 43rd verse. You've heard it say to love your neighbors and hate your enemies, but I say, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. He goes on to say that, it's one thing to love people that love you. What's the big deal? Everybody does that. It's one thing to give to those who give to you. What's the big deal? Everybody does that. It's one thing to forgive those who forgive you, to comfort those who comfort you. Yeah, of course, everybody does that. But you're called to something higher. You're called to another standard, and that standard is to love those who hate you. This is an impossible teaching. When I think about this situation in Afghanistan, when I think about what this article shared with me, what I think about those Taliban officials who were asking for aid, and not even just asking for it, but almost telling us we owe it to them. This message of Jesus is so hard to embrace. This message of Jesus is so difficult to want to embrace. I want to reject it. It's too much, Jesus. Don't ask me to go there. Not in this situation. Okay, fine. I'll love my enemy. I'll love the people that leave nasty comments. How about that? I'll love the people that don't like the Anglican Church. I'll love the people that don't like Miramicheers. Okay, I got that. I'll love the people that aren't Bruins fans or that they are Montreal Canadian fans. Yes, I can do that. But don't ask me to do this. This is impossible. Being willing to love those folks, being willing to love the Taliban, to give to the Taliban after everything that happened, after everything that was done, after the conflict, after the war, after the strife, it's too much. Come on, man. Take our side on this. Take my side on this. Smite them. Let's see that righteous judgment in action. But that's never Jesus' way. And I know that. And so if I apply what I know about Jesus, I know that despite the fact that this is a very difficult teaching to embrace, despite the fact that this is a very difficult pill to swallow, that he's still asking. He's still asking us to follow him in this. Despite the fact that it just doesn't fit my context, it just doesn't fit my mindset, he continues asking. Again, I'm not saying we should or shouldn't send aid to Afghanistan. I'm simply saying that this article reminded me that I have bitter feelings. And this article reminded me that I do carry my judgment. And this article reminded me that Jesus tells me to set those things aside. That it's not my place to hate anybody, but rather to love everybody, especially in these extreme situations. Even people who were trying to kill my friends, people who were trying to destroy what my friends were hoping to bring. And yet, I'm still supposed to love them. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. I pray we're strong enough to accept this lesson, that we're able to accept this challenge, that we are willing to answer this call. Because a world where we are able to love our enemies, that's a world that's moving forward. That's a world that's growing. That's the world that Jesus envisioned. And that's the world that we're supposed to build. Amen. Nemultus.